aspect of sales first. I want to get a deal done here first. You cannot close a deal without being a salesperson. My opening call with somebody is 99 times out of 100 calling as an investor. Like, that's my opening call. I'm calling as a principal. Based on their response, I'm then flipping the conversation in any direction that I see fit. Obviously, if they want a crazy high price, I flip it to more of a listing. Whatever direction I need to flip the conversation to, I flip the conversation to. And just know, my intention is that as soon as somebody says that they're open to selling, the only way to get a deal done, to get to close, is to build a level of trust, a level of a relationship with that individual. Period. End of story. I don't care if I'm going for a listing, I'm going as a buyer, I'm calling for as anything. The only way to get to the closing table is to have a level of trust created, a relationship created between you and the individual on the phone. Like, there's no, like, every single deal I've ever done, the amount of time, like, think about how many times you speak to the owner in a commercial real estate transaction. It's several times a week sometimes. You're probably calling this person 20, 30, 40, 50 times over the course of a transaction, right? So it's like, of course, you need to build a relationship where I'll give you an example. I'm working on a deal right now, and I think we haven't even gotten to contract yet. And I think we've spoken 30 or so times. And when I call, he goes, "Oh, hey, Henry, how you doing? What's going on?" We're friendly, right? And we joke about certain things. Literally, the guy, let me see if I can find this really fast. Literally, this guy. So this is a lead, okay? This is somebody where I'm trying to do a $5 million deal with somebody. Okay, this is not just some random BS thing. He sends me, because we're joking about relationships. I'm telling him how I'm engaged and, happy wife, happy life, all that kind of, like, we're just kind of joking around about having some, BS talk. Okay. And then he sends me this text message, which I'm going to go on. Hold on. Let me pin myself so you can actually see what I'm about to show you as an example, Meehan. Okay. This is how to make your husband happy and then how to make your wife happy. And he's like joking around, like, that's the level of rapport. Like, and we're laughing, having a good time. And he, like, I'm responding to him like, LOL, this is hilarious. I got to share this, blah, blah. I didn't share it with anybody because I didn't think it was appropriate. But the point is I'm trying to make is, like, we're building a relationship, right? And now he's like, feels comfortable to shoot the shit with me. He's giving me leases. He trusts me. But just know my philosophy has always been, and agree, even with Steve talking about how he wants to do the absolute best for the seller, I feel the same way. My intention is not to screw anybody. My intention is not to get one over on anybody. My intention is not to be anything less than just super kind, doing what's best for everyone in the game, right? In this world of real estate. I know on your first phone call, Meehan, the phone call with this guy that just sent me this crazy text and, like, we're building a relationship right here, it didn't go unbelievably well. He said he was open to selling. We then had the next conversation, and, like, we slowly started building a relationship, and he started getting me more information and trusting me. And now, because I've spoken to this guy 30 freaking times, we're shooting the shit. And by the way, I'm in Florida. And I have never met this person. This is all over the phone. So, like, I'm trying to show you that, like, you can build that level of rapport from anywhere with anyone. So it's not about just meeting them face to face. It's not about taking them to coffee. Yeah. It's not about any of that. It's just like, I respect what you're saying with relationship, because you can't do this business without building a relationship, period. Right.
Well, no. And then I think that with that said, what you're suggesting in terms of, like, making call with us to kind of continue to deepen that relationship, I think that will be very helpful. Sure. But I'm also kind of pulled on, like, okay, hey, that transaction could take, like, years to develop, but at the same time is like, yeah, we still need to make money as well too. So then it's just kind of like it's just something that I'm trying to figure out, like,
well, this is why, like,
right for me,
I wholeheartedly understand. And, like, this is why I believe being a shark, like a great salesperson, when I mean being a shark, being like a great salesperson who goes into a situation to get a result. Yes, I believe in building relationship 100%. But unless someone signs an agreement, I don't make any money. You don't make any money. Like, we have to sign a contract, right? There needs to be something signed. We need to move the ball forward. I need a paycheck. You need a paycheck. So it's like, that's why I'm saying I believe in being a great salesperson who happens to be, who is respectful, who is trustworthy, who is kind, versus a person who is, kind, respectful, and professional, who happens to also be a good salesperson, who happens to also be fairly decent at sales, right? Like, it needs to lead with we lead with sales without being you have to be pushing the needle, in my opinion, the aspect of sales first. I want to get a deal done here first, right? That's my mindset, but I'm also respectful, kind, and want to build a relationship with somebody. So it is that dance, which I respect, right? And I understand that you want to build that relationship, and just know that like you can close a deal without building a ton of rapport and without building a ton of relationship-ish or you know what I'm saying? Like you can close a deal without being that close with a client. However, you cannot close a deal without being a salesperson, period. Like you have to sign a contract. Like you cannot just be fugazi with signing a contract. You can be fugazi in the sense, when I mean that, like you can be kind of lighthearted and kind and not pushy in regards to building a relationship with somebody. Like you can be kind of la-di-da with building a relationship, but you cannot be la-di-da with sales. Because if you are la-di-da and like half-assed with your selling ability, you're not going to close a freaking deal.
To prove a fund, for example, they're going to ask for that. They're going to ask who you are. What do you do business with? I mean, if you don't have any kind of a portfolio to kind of show them, sometimes they can kind of spot it out like, hey, you're just, again, I think if there is a way to be able to kind of leverage you, for example, or leverage other people, then we can be able to continue to have it more serious sellers that would be able to take us more seriously as a buyer. So
I hear that. So I'll give you an example. This is what I've done in the past. So I'm going to stop sharing real fast, by the way. So what I've done in the past on the types of properties, like just recently, I was cold calling and I got somebody who had 140 unit in New Jersey. Very, very great, like great location, awesome property. And that level of individual is clearly going to ask questions like you just said. I want to see a proof of funds. I want to know who the hell you are. I'm not giving you any information, blah, blah, blah. I want to be also very clear. Most property owners between like the $1 million to 10 million range, who are mom and pop-ish owners, not like corporate guys who have 5, 10, 20, 50 properties, right? Just being, just my experience, they don't really give a shit, right? Like as in they'll give you information. They're open. Like if they're open to selling, they're not going to typically bust your chops about all these types of things. However, the corporate people, like this property is like a $30+ million property and he owns several of them. They're not going to just fuck around with any random person who calls them, which is why you have to understand that like the type of person you're calling is also going to change the complexity of the phone call. So if you're calling a 15 unit apartment building, they're not going to be like, I want to know what company you are. Like they're not, more likely than not, they're not going to be like, I need to know what company you are. I want to know all the properties you own. I want to see a proof of funds. I want to know who all this type of stuff. They're not typically doing that. But the person who owns 150 unit and they own 8 of them, they're going to care more about those things. So what I've done is that I have a relationship with a number of large investors, very successful investors, okay? About a dozen or 2 dozen of them in various different asset classes, right? So this guy's a multifamily, 140 units in a great location. He goes, clearly I'm not going to show him the portfolio of my industrial guy because he doesn't give a shit. I'm going to connect him and be like, oh yeah, so I'm a partner with M3 Equities, which is one of my very close friends owns an acquisitions company. They have 2,000 units under management. Okay, between, in the Northeast. So when I said, hey, I'm a part of M3 Equities, he goes, oh, I know M3 Equities because I know he would know who they are. I'm shocked he actually knew who they were in this instance because it was a small world kind of thing.
Yeah, but commercial is really small. Everyone knows everyone. So
yeah. So anyways, he's like, oh, I actually know exactly who they are. And I'm like, that's fucking great. I mean, that's great trust building immediately, right? Like, so now he knows exactly who my company is. That's my friend's company. But I have built relationships with a bunch of my now friends' companies where like I can say I'm the acquisitions manager of XYZ company. And they now like, oh, okay, I know who that company is, no problem. Mm-hmm. So it's not about me or you or anybody like that. It's like, it's having like, hey, this is the investment companies I work with. As these are my partners.